Hello everyone, I hope you've had a great holiday break. Today I will be cooking a special vegan dish. I've always been a little dissatisfied with all the vegan protein options out there, so today I want to show you guys how to cook this delicious Japanese barbecue eel rice bowl by only using eggplants. It's very simple, it's very fast, and it's also very delicious. It's also super simple to make, but you will need to prepare a steamer in order to steam the eggplants. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so here are all the ingredients. Now because this is a very simple recipe, we only have a couple ingredients. So we need some scallions, they're also called green onions in some places. We need a big eggplant. You want to find something that's, kind of big, kind of, thicker and kind of resembles the shape of a fish, so that later when we fillet the eggplant, it will look, kind of like filleted fish. After that, we will need the very important eel sauce. You can get this on Amazon, or if you have like an Asian grocery store around, they should usually carry this. It's also called sushi sauce in some places. It's very sticky. It's kind of like teriyaki sauce, but this is a little different. And I'll just prepare some extra teriyaki sauce just to thin it down a little bit. But yeah, this is pretty much all you need. It's a super simple recipe. And yeah, let's get cooking. Let's first remove the very top and the very bottom of the eggplant, and let's split this eggplant in half from the middle. Now let's remove the skin of the eggplant. I know some people really prefer, to leave the skin on, but to really make this recipe work and to make it visually look like a piece of fish, we will have to remove it. Alright, so after you've shaved off the purple skin of the eggplant, you should be left with these two, kind of steak looking pieces of eggplant. Like maybe this is how like Thanos from MCU look like without his skin, but let's not, think too much. So right now what we want to do is remove the oxidized spot on the eggplant. Sometimes when they sit too long, like certain bits can become like oxidized and we want to remove them. And after that, let's cut these pieces in half through the middle so that we have basically 4 big pieces of, even-sized eggplant steaks. And let's put these eggplant pieces on a ceramic plate for now. We will have to put this thing in a steamer, so you want to use a heat-resistant plate. It can be glass or ceramic, but we can't use anything plastic. Alright, so what I have here is a very basic stainless steel 2-deck steamer. There's another deck, but I removed it. We only need one for what we are cooking today. These are really cheap on Amazon. It's like $28 from like a couple years ago. If you have like an Asian grocery store nearby, they should also have something like this. So they have a, like a bottom pot that has water in it. And on the top deck there are holes drilled on the bottom so that when the water heats up, the steam goes up through the hole and cooks the food on the top deck. Now let's turn up the heat and wait until the water boils. Alright, as you can see, the water have reached boiling temperature and it's steaming. So now what we need to do is let's turn down the heat to medium. And now we can carefully open the lid and also be extremely careful when putting the plate with the eggplant on it in. It can be a little hot, so just definitely be careful. And let's put the lid back on. We only have to cook it for about 3 to 5 minutes. We just want it to be slightly cooked because we later still have to lightly fry it. So we don't really want to overcook it. But just keep an eye on it. It should work out pretty good. Alright, so after 5 minutes, we've finished steaming the eggplant. So now what we can do is we can open up the lid, slowly and carefully, don't get burned by the steam. And, just let the eggplant cool down a little bit. Right now it's way too hot for us to do anything with it. So, just take your time, let it, chill a little bit. Right now will be a great time for us to prepare the sauce for the light fry later on. Now, for us to make the sauce, we will need to prepare a clean little bowl, and we need to pour a couple of our sauce ingredients in it. So firstly, let's pour in some of the eel sauce. So we only need a couple teaspoons, about like 3 to 4 is perfect. I'm going to do 3 for now, but if you're really into this flavor, feel free to add more or adjust the ratio between these ingredients. Now let's mix in about 2 teaspoons of teriyaki sauce. This is mainly for thinning down the eel sauce a little bit. Feel free to not use it if you don't have it. You can also use water for the same purpose, but I just prefer teriyaki sauce to add a little extra flavor. And here I have 2 additional ingredients. These 2 are completely optional, so feel free to not use them if you don't have them or if you just don't want to bother with it. So first one, we have a Chinese cooking wine. This is just to add some extra like the Chinese cooking flavor to it. It's totally optional. The other one is garlic powder. Feel free to use fresh garlic if you also have them. This is totally optional. If you love the garlic flavor, feel free to add as much as you can. I'm just gonna add a little bit to enhance the flavor of the sauce, but to be honest, it's pretty good even without them. For the Chinese cooking wine, about 1 to 2 teaspoons is pretty much perfect. And for the garlic powder, I'm going to add at about half teaspoon. That to me is perfect. Now we want to make sure is to thoroughly mix all the ingredients. We have to make sure that they are the same consistency. After that, this beautiful eel barbecue sauce is done. Alright, so now we have our barbecue sauce ready, we have the eggplant ready. We can start to do the final cooking process, which is light fry. So here I have a very small frying pan. I would really suggest you to fry one piece at a time with precise heat so that they don't burn or fall apart, because it's actually pretty easy for like eggplants to deteriorate. So to cook this, let's turn up the heat to medium and let's add a little bit vegetable oil. You don't really need too much, but you want to have enough that you can fry the eggplant into like a beautiful golden crispy. And we do have to be a little careful with heat because eggplant also burns pretty easily. So definitely take your time and do this process slowly. It will pay off later on and you will have delicious eggplants. Alright, so now the oil is hot, and we know it's hot because it starts to run kind of like water. If it starts smoking, then it's a little too hot and it's burning basically, so we cannot do that. We want it to be just kind of runny, and that's the perfect temperature. So now we can add in the eggplant. Just be really careful, lightly fry one side first with like a pair of chopsticks. It's probably the best way to do it in my opinion, but just take it slowly, use small to medium heat, and it should basically turn golden and crispy brown pretty quickly. Alright, so now all of our eggplant pieces have been light fried. What we need to do now is let's pick up these pieces individually and let's dip them into the barbecue eel sauce we prepared earlier. Again, be really careful. Eggplants are kind of, like loose and fragile, so just be really careful, use chopsticks, dip it in the sauce, make sure the eggplant pieces are thoroughly coated, and we can set it aside to do a second light fry later on. Alright, so we have all of our eggplant pieces already dipped and coated with the eel barbecue sauce, and well, like even right now it looks kind of like, sliced eel pieces now. So in order to get the sauce flavor really in and make it caramelize a little bit, we have to do the light fry process again. This time you do have to be even more careful because the sauce is a little sticky, but just take your time and do it slowly, it will turn out really nice. When you have one side perfectly fried up, you can get a brush and brush on more of the barbecue sauce on that side. This will help to add more flavor into your eggplant and also just add, like a heavier layer of this sauce glaze on it. It really helps making them look better and also make them look more like, like real eel. Alright, so now we've finished frying our eggplant pieces, we can start to plate them. So I've prepared a clean bowl with pre-made steamed rice in it, and we can carefully place the eggplant pieces on top. You do have to be really careful again because eggplant at this point tends to, like really break up. So you want to be careful and, just again, be creative. You can try to make it look nice, or you can just like all pile them to one side. Like, to be honest, like it's up to you. Obviously if you want a really nice presentation, you can't just, put the eggplant pieces next to each other like very nicely in a very, like neat order, and they will look really, really nice once you finish plating them. And now we can garnish the top with chopped green onions. Again, you just need a little bit, drizzle on it, make it look nice, and oh, doesn't this look good? I'm so hungry right now. Alright, so if you followed this recipe successfully, then congratulations, have this beautiful bowl of delicious vegan eggplant eel rice bowl. I wish you can smell how good this thing smells. It's so good. And yeah, this is definitely one of my least complicated recipe, but it does take a lot of patience and heat control with your cooking to actually make it perfect. So again, congratulations if you've successfully followed this recipe and made this dish. I really appreciate your view and your support to the KBVR TV YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching this video.